Light, my son. From one murderer to another, I'll see you in hell.
No, Dad!
広がる闇の中交わし合った革命のちぎり誰にも邪魔させるわけにはいかないから
Impossible! What makes you think I care where I am? I won't change anything. With the state I'm in now, this is the best place for me. And no matter what the result, when I leave here, it's going to be with my son!
What is so really interesting about this character is his dilemma. Is his son Kira or is he not Kira? And, you know, as a parent, where does his allegiance lie? As, you know, he's obviously dedicated to his job as a police inspector, as the head of the task force, but he's also a parent who obviously loves his son.
I am bound by my responsibilities as a parent and as chief of the MPA.
Is his son guilty or not guilty? And if he is guilty, what does he do? Does he protect his son? Does he expose his son? And that's what I find is the most interesting conflict.
That means my son. I shouldn't be happy that people have been killed, but at least Light's name will finally be cleared.
He's a man who will sacrifice pretty well anything for the cause of truth, for the truth of the situation, the truth of who the murderer is. And that says a lot about his sort of responsibility as a citizen and as a professional.
In a few hours, I'm no longer going to be your chief. However, we all have our own lives, so think it over carefully.
Some of the detectives he has with him are quite young, they're inexperienced, and I think he's quite good at guiding them, at reining them in, of showing them what to do, you know, a chief of detectives, what his responsibilities are and how he fulfills those duties.
Oh. Hey, Chief! Oh, you too, Mogi. I've got some great news. This is amazing. I'm not even sure how he figured it out, but Light has a theory that Kira is somehow involved with the Yotsuba group. Can you believe it?
Being a sort of a comedic actor myself, I really relate to Matsuda and the fact that he is a goofball, just like me. So it's perfect to sort of play off of that and play off our own experiences of being, you know, shot down or being the goof and just shouting out things randomly and being like, oh, sorry, shouldn't have said that. So, yeah, it's totally fun. At first, I was a bit confused on how I would approach Matsuda, not having known too much about Death Note at all, or the character Matsuda. And I was like, okay, so he's a policeman, so he's, you know, he's probably pretty proper. But then you find out that he's such a goofball the whole time. And it was sort of a hard line to be like, okay, I have to be serious, but then a total, like, goof-off kid at certain points, like when he gets the new ID badge and he gets the new belt and the fake name, he's like, oh, right, this is so cool, like Mission Impossible, I get to be an undercover cop, like it's so cool. And then, you know, he gets shut down by the chief right away. And I think it's hilarious. But yeah, it was sort of hard to find where that line was, like, where does Matsuda fit into this police world?
Ryuzaki, Chief Yagami, Light, let's get out of here and bring Kira to justice.
Excuse me, I couldn't help but notice you missed my name.
He's the everyman, you know? He's not the really cool guy. He's sort of the guy that, you know, I think we've all been in Matsuda's shoes once in our life, you know, being the person that gets picked on, but, you know, he's very, very determined and wants to prove himself.
Ryuzaki, please tell me, is there anything I can do to help with the investigation, besides the manager thing?
So you really want to be useful?
Yes!
Then could you get me another cup of coffee?
I think he was chosen to be on the team for a reason, and I think it shows within, you know, episode 19, where he sort of takes it upon himself because no one's sort of giving him any responsibility. He's taken upon himself to be like, you know I can help, I know I can contribute to this case, and he goes out and cracks this huge opening for the case, and, you know, leaks a lot of information out for the investigation.
Kira! There it is! Kira, they said it! What's that? Let's have Kira get rid of him. I heard it! They really are working with him! I did it! This is huge! I'm not sure how much more of this the three of them can take.
Ryazaki, you have no reason to keep Light locked up anymore. Do the right thing and let him go, then we can get the chief out too. Criminals are still being killed, even though Misa and Light haven't had access to any of that information. We know that much already, so what are you waiting for?
Not true. All we really know at this point is that Amane harbors an unnaturally strong devotion for Light Yagami.
Okay, fine, but we do know that Kira killed Lind L. Taylor and those FBI agents, right? As Light said, if Kira could kill while under surveillance and without access to information, there would have been no need. If they didn't pose a threat to him, then why would he bother killing them?
It's been a real treat to work on this show. Like I said, it's a great opportunity to work on a show that has such a groundswell of fan support before the English dub is released. And yeah, it's great to play a character like Aizawa that gives me a chance to explore some different emotional levels and stuff.
How's this, huh?
He's the shoot first, ask questions later type of guy. And in any group, you need that. You need someone to be the driving force behind the let's get on the job. And just as you need the brute force type, you also need the voice of reason. And you also need sort of the new guy, and you need the guy who can learn from what he's doing, and then the voice of experience, right? The boss, the leader type. So it's a nice combination of then I think they all complement each other.
That's so gross. You really are a pervert, aren't you?
Light, please make Misa stop talking now.
Well, in the scene, she is going on and on about stuff that has nothing at all to do with the Kira investigation, and of course that's their primary purpose, is to get on with this investigation. And he's just sitting there for what feels like pages. When you see him on the couch doing this, his mouth is closed, and you just see the eyebrow twitching a little bit, so you know, okay, so he's getting upset at this, but he hasn't started grinding his teeth down to nubs just yet. So, okay, so we know to start sort of, okay, well, is she gonna shut up? Okay. And then the next shot is you see the teeth, and he's sitting there with his head down, his eyes clenched, and you know that it's getting worse, and you can feel, and in the booth, I can feel my own fists balling up as I'm watching this and watching the screen, watching it happen in front of me, and finally, of course, when he explodes, I think there's like 3 or 4 different angles of him finally leaping up. And then, where he comes over to her and very, very pointedly grabs her and takes her and throws her out the door, And then after throwing her out the door, and she's still trying to come back, and he's got this, and then, of course, it's all finally capped off with the got rid of that kind of thing. The one scene where he's going into the new building and the security alarms keep going off, and he's trying different things. Well, is it the belt? Is it this? That was awesome. That was great. Because again, the mounting frustration. It's a great opportunity for comedy with a character like that. Because any character who's that high strung in the first place, it's just a golden opportunity for comedic moments. So I'm glad that the creators of the show went down that road with it and played with it, because it's nice. It lightens the mood enough to kind of remind you that these people are still human.
There's a lot of depth and sort of character development in this show, and I think that's what sustains it through all the episodes. I think that's what keeps the viewer sort of interested in this series is sort of the quality of the writing. I think it's very interesting.
We're all personally involved in this. All of us have risked our lives to catch Kira. Doesn't that give us the right to decide whether we stay here or return to the police force?
Count me in! I'm gonna quit the police and chase Kira too, Chief! And I still have my job as Misa's manager. Besides, if I stayed on as a police officer, I'd feel like a total loser.
Think before you open your mouth, Matsuda.
I think the chief is sort of, like the father figure of his sons, basically. It's like a family there that's working together, and even when L is testing them, seeing, will you stay and fight with me, or will you just cower back? Like, he's the first one, the chief is the first one to stay.
I get a sense anyway of this sort of potential father-son kind of relationship there, which makes it even harder when, the end comes and that's broken up. But yeah, I think it's more personal for him, for Aizawa.
If that's what it took to catch him, and I meant it. What kind of friend would I be to Ukita if I quit now? I became a detective so I could catch the bad guys, not run away!
The whole show, the whole focus of this guy has been about, you know, getting to Kira and figuring this out. And when this big sucker punch happens at the end, it's a real reversal. It's a real spin around. And, well, like I said, that's why I can't really wait to see what happens after that.